If you found this video, it's not a coincidence. And I know you've probably heard those words before. Maybe you've seen them in other videos, other messages, other moments where someone tried to convince you that the universe had a special plan waiting just around the corner. But this is different, because this message is not asking you to believe something impossible. It's asking you to notice something that has already been happening. For a while now, something inside you has been trying to get your attention. Not loudly, not dramatically, not in a way that would make everyone around you stop and stare. Quietly, persistently, like a knock at a door you didn't realize was there. You may have called it intuition. You may have called it anxiety. You may have called it overthinking. But what if it wasn't any of those things? What if what you've been feeling is the sensation of your life preparing to change before the evidence arrives? Because that is how change usually begins. Not with certainty, not with proof, not with immediate results. It begins with a feeling, a strange awareness that the chapter you've been living inside is reaching its natural ending. And if you felt that recently, then stay with me, because there is something important you need to understand. Most people think the universe speaks through dramatic events, a miracle, a breakthrough, a sudden opportunity. But that's rarely how it happens. The universe whispers long before it shouts. First comes the restlessness. Then comes the questioning. Then comes the feeling that the life you've been living no longer fits the person you're becoming. And only after that does the visible change arrive. The problem is that most people ignore the whisper. They wait for certainty. They wait for permission. They wait for proof. And while they're waiting, the signs continue appearing around them. A conversation that seems strangely relevant. A book that appears at exactly the right time. A message that answers a question they never spoke aloud. A person entering their life carrying exactly the perspective they needed. A repeated number. A recurring thought. A feeling they can't explain. Most people dismiss these moments. But there is a pattern hidden inside them. Because signs are rarely about prediction. They're about preparation. They don't arrive to tell you what will happen. They arrive to prepare you for who you are becoming. And that changes everything. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, there was a man who spent nearly a decade trying to force his life in a direction that no longer belonged to him. From the outside, everything looked fine. He had responsibilities. He had routines. He had goals. But every morning he woke up with the same feeling. A quiet emptiness. Not because his life was terrible, but because it wasn't his anymore. It was a life built from expectations. Expectations from family. Expectations from society. Expectations from a version of himself that no longer existed. For years he ignored the feeling. He convinced himself he was being ungrateful. He told himself to work harder, to be more disciplined, to push through. But the feeling never left. And then something strange started happening. Everywhere he looked, he encountered the same message. Different people, different places, different situations. But somehow the same idea kept appearing. You are meant for something different. At first he ignored it. Then he noticed it. Then eventually he couldn't escape it. The signs weren't forcing him to change. They were preparing him to accept the change that was already coming. And one day, after years of resistance, he made a single decision. Not a massive decision. Not a dramatic leap. Just one choice. One honest choice. A choice that aligned with who he truly was. That decision changed everything, not overnight, but permanently. Because the moment he stopped resisting the direction his life was trying to move, the path became visible. This is what most people misunderstand. The universe is not trying to control your life. It is constantly inviting you into alignment with it. And when you resist that invitation, life feels heavy. When you accept it, things begin to move. Not because magic happened, but because you stopped fighting yourself. That may be exactly where you are right now. You may feel stuck. You may feel uncertain. You may feel as though nothing significant is happening. But there is something I want you to consider. What if this season is not about movement? What if it's about preparation? What if the reason everything feels different lately is because the version of you that belongs in the next chapter is already forming beneath the surface? Think about a seed beneath the soil. From above, nothing appears to be happening. No growth, no evidence, no visible progress. But underground, everything is changing. Roots are forming, systems are developing, strength is being built. And by the time the first sign of growth becomes visible, the real work has already been happening for quite some time. Your life works the same way. Most transformations are invisible before they become obvious. Most breakthroughs are internal before they become external. Most new chapters begin long before anyone realizes they have started, including you. And that's why this message found you today. Not because your entire life will change tomorrow, not because some magical event is about to fall from the sky, but because you are standing much closer to the threshold than you realize. The signs you've been noticing, the feelings you've been carrying, the questions you've been asking, the old habits that no longer fit, the dreams that keep returning. None of these are random. They are evidence. Evidence that your life is trying to move forward. Evidence that your current chapter has taught you what it needed to teach you. Evidence that something new is already making its way toward you. And here's the part most people never hear. The final moments before a new phase begins often feel exactly like uncertainty, not confidence, not clarity, uncertainty. Because certainty belongs to the chapter you're leaving. Growth belongs to the chapter you're entering. And growth always requires stepping beyond what is familiar. So if you've been feeling restless, if you've been feeling different, if you've been feeling like something is shifting beneath the surface, you're not losing your way. You may be closer to finding it than ever before. Before this video ends, I want you to do something simple. Leave these words in the comments. I trust the path unfolding. Not for the algorithm, not for me, for yourself. Because there is power in declaring trust before proof arrives. There is power in recognizing that not every important part of your journey can be measured. And there is power in accepting that perhaps this video didn't appear in your life by accident after all. Maybe it arrived because you were finally ready to hear what your own soul has been trying to tell you. The door is opening. The signs are real. The next chapter is closer than it appears, and your life may already be changing in ways you cannot yet see.